What's up guys, Brian here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to go over how to add and subtract fractions. So the main thing for adding and subtracting fractions that you're going to have to remember, the most important thing, is that when you're adding and subtracting fractions you have to have the same denominator or else you're going to be in some trouble. So let's go and just jump straight into the first example, and it's going to be 2/5 over 1/5. So in this case we actually have the same denominator already, so a lot of the work's been done for us. So in this case, since we already have the same denominator for each fraction, it's really simple. We just actually add the top, the numerator. So we just take 2 plus 1 over 5. So put simply, it's going to be 3 over 5. And there's no reducing that needs to be done. So this is just our answer. So, and you could do the same thing as if you were taking, it's no different if you have 2/5 over 1/5. If you have 2/5 minus 1/5, it's going to be the same exact process, same denominators already. So it's just 2 minus 1 over 5, and that's going to give you 1 over 5. So these are just two simple questions. So let's go and do a little bit more complicated problem. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and do 1 over 6 plus 3 over 4. And as you can see, they do not have the same denominator, and the number one thing I told you at the beginning of the video is when you're adding and subtracting fractions, you need to have the same denominator or else it ain't going to work. So, in order to find the same denominator, we need to use a method called the LCM, with the least common multiple, which if you need to remember how to do that, you can check out my old video. I'll link it up here and it'll also be in the description. But we're going to go ahead and assume that you already know how to do that, and we'll just jump straight into it. So in order to make these two denominators the same, we'll find the LCM, and in this case, it is equal to 12. And again, the reason this is the LCM is because this is the smallest number that both of these numbers can go into, that can be divided into. So with this information, all we need to do is find out what do we need to multiply each of these denominators by in order to get this number. So let's go ahead and start with the first fraction. So 1 over 6. How do we get this 6 to be a 12? Well, we're going to need to multiply it by a 2. Now when you're working with fractions, when you multiply the bottom by a number, you have to multiply the top by the same number, and vice versa. So we're going to multiply the bottom by 2, and we also have to multiply the top by 2. That's a big mistake people tend to make, where they forget to multiply the top and the bottom, and then they get themselves into trouble. So this fraction is going to come out to be 2, because 1 times 2 is 2, and 6 times 2 is 12. And we're going to do our second fraction here, which we'll do, I'll put over here, 3 over 4. And to get this to be a 12, this denominator to be a 12, we're going to multiply that by 3. So 4 times 3, and again, we have to do the same to the top, 3 times 3. And that's going to give us a fraction of 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 3 is 12. So these are our two new fractions. And I just wrote it this way. You don't have to write it this way if you don't want to, but I wrote it this way to make it a little bit more clear. And what we're going to do with these now is we're going to replace the 1/6 fraction with 2 12s, and we're going to replace the 3/4 fraction with 9 12s. So let's do that real quick. So the 1/6 fraction is replaced with the 2 12s, and the 3/4 fraction is replaced with the 9 12s. So now we have an easy problem because they both have the same denominator. So all we have to do now, I'm going to put a line here to get you guys so not confused. So now we have a problem that's very similar to the first problem we did. And since we have the same denominator, all we have to do is add the numerators. So in this case, we just have 2 plus 9 over 12. And I'll put an equal sign there just because I like to do that. And now 2 plus 9 is 11, and that's all over 12. So now that's your answer. So basically all you need to do when you're adding fractions or subtracting fractions, it works the same way for subtracting fractions, is you need to get the denominators to be the same, and the way we do that is by using the LCM. You might also hear it referred to the LCD, which is just lowest common denominator. It's the same exact thing. Again, if you need to know how to do that, you can check out my previous video on LCMs and finding them. But as far as this problem goes, that's all you have to do. So if you like this video, was it helpful, please give it a like, comment below if you have any other questions, and I'll try to answer them as quick as I can. And also you could subscribe if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks guys, until next time.